We continue here on News at Prime tonight. Let's take you back to one of our top stories. Eskom, of course, warning of ramped up load shedding from tonight, and that is expected to lead well into the rest of the week. Clyde Mallison is an energy expert. He joins us now live. Clyde, good evening. I suppose in many ways, as South Africans, we should get used to the warnings of increased load shedding, especially going into the festive season. Eskom has told us their situation, whether financially or when it comes to generation capacity, is not likely to change anytime soon.
Yeah, evening, Kathy, and thanks for having me on your show. Yeah, I'm afraid all of the predictions are playing out at the moment. So it's perhaps happening a little bit faster than I thought it might. But Eskom ran out of runway some time ago, and now they are starting to run out of money. And I get the sense that this is crunch time. We actually are moving into one or two stages of load shedding higher than we would otherwise have had, because Eskom simply don't have the money to purchase diesel to run their open cycle gas turbines, and those collectively can produce about the equivalent of 2 stages of load shedding. But they can't run all the time. They're not designed to run all the time. So that's why we're seeing stage 5 in the evening, and then it's staying right through until midnight, and that extra duration of stage 5 is to let Eskom use the load shedding to actually top up their water resources, because they basically no longer have diesel as an emergency reserve, because they just ain't got any money to buy diesel. They actually responded to questions today asked by someone on a WhatsApp group that I'm on, and they've said categorically essentially their diesel storage tanks are empty, and they don't have any money to buy any more. And they're not planning to buy any more unless money can be found somewhere.
The reality is that what that means for ordinary South Africans, you and I really, is the fact that we must not only get used to the fact that we are going to be having load shedding, but we're going to experience it at higher stages for longer periods.
Absolutely. I think we're moving, we kind of already have, but I think we're going to be moving into what I call permanent load shedding. Eskom have what they call a base case scenario. They kind of say this is the base, and the base assumes that 13,000 megawatts are broken in so-called unplanned breakages. Well, the truth is, over the last 2 months or so, the average of unplanned breakages has been more like 15,000 megawatts. So the new baseline, if you like, is now 15,000 megawatts, not 13,000 megawatts. And we're likely to fluctuate about 2,000 megawatts either side of 15. So we'll go up to 17 being broken and maybe down to 13 being broken. And yeah, it's you know, I don't know how long people have been saying this crisis is in the making, but as we move deeper into this crisis, it will start accelerating now. The fact that we have run out of money, or that Eskom has run out of money for diesel, massively exacerbates the situation.
Clyde, one also gets the sense that South Africans at this point are not really aware of what exactly it is that we are in store for, because the kind of load shedding that lies ahead is nothing compared to what we've been through before.
Yeah, it's wall-to-wall load shedding. Imagine you've got a generator at your home and you've run out of petrol or diesel, and you were banking on the generator to help you, to manage through load shedding. Well, Eskom's generators are the OCGTs. They don't stop load shedding, but they are able to reduce the stages of load shedding to a certain degree. And now they've run out of that money. I've been to so many Eskom NERSA hearings where Eskom have been asking for higher tariffs, and I'm not necessarily speaking now in favor of Eskom with regard to higher tariffs, because these old Eskom and these new Eskom, if you know what I mean, at certain times when Eskom was asking for higher tariffs, you weren't quite sure what the intention was. But the bottom line is that I have heard NERSA panel members literally admonish Eskom for burning diesel in order to stave off load shedding, and doing it in a fashion that they described as imprudent. They said it wasn't prudent for you to burn diesel. You should have fixed the coal fleet. And the reality was that the coal fleet wasn't fixed, it was broken. And Eskom were burning diesel and then not being able to claim that money back as part of their tariff adjudication. And I think this time around they've said, well, you know what, we've actually run out of money now. We could have lower stages of load shedding, but you know what, if we haven't got the money. So, you know, when we've done it in the past, we've been told we're not prudent. So I reckon there's a bit of a gauntlet being thrown down here, quite frankly.
Do you expect that there will be pressure on Treasury in particular to give Eskom more resources? Again, being mindful, Clyde, of the fact that we are going into festive season. People's patience and tolerance levels may not quite be where they are right now. And of course, in 2023, that's leading us up to an election year. And I would imagine all of these factors will ultimately play a role.
I think all of these kind of I don't want to call them peripheral, they're very central to the theme. The elections, the further bailouts from Treasury. Treasury have categorically said they won't give money for diesel. But Eskom could take money from other things and use it for diesel and then come and say to Treasury, now we need money for the other thing. It's not for diesel. So they've all become semi-secondary. The country now is deep in crisis, and it requires an exceptional level of leadership now, not a flying back from some foreign country to say everything will be fine. This is it now. This is it, and I don't know exactly how it's going to be tackled. I know what needs to be done. But I've been saying this for so long now that it's actually quite boring.
And certainly one doesn't get that sense of urgency that you're talking about, Clyde. It's just not there.
Yeah. It's one thing running out of runway, so to speak, when you're trying to land a plane. It's another thing running out of runway and running out of fuel at the same time when you're trying to land a plane. So we've run out of technical runway and we've now run out of physical fuel. And, some of the solutions touted are that we should build more open cycle gas turbines, but we can't even afford to run the ones we've got. We've got open cycle gas turbines, and they're sitting there not being used. So it's really accelerating now, and of course every additional stage of load shedding is worse than the previous one, in the sense that water supply starts being questioned, sewerage works start not working. I saw a post today from City Power saying their teams just can't keep up with moving around, just switching on and off, never mind repair work. So it's not a linear thing. Stage 2 isn't twice as bad as stage 1. It's maybe 3 times as bad. And by the time you go from stage 5 to stage 6, it's really compounded.
Clyde, we're going to have to leave it there for tonight. Thanks for your time. Clyde Mallison is an energy expert. Hopefully that doesn't mean the only scenario we're left with is a crash in as far as our power supply is concerned.